Hi folks, it's your old model building Brian buddy here at HobbyLink Japan. Is this an episode of Boss Builds or is it Boss Shows again? Well, whatever it is, I've got a couple of excellent new armor kits. One that is already here, has just come in, and one that is coming in soon. So to get the show started, I'm going to showcase the brand new Tacom 1/16 scale Renault FT Char Canon Girod turret. This is a French light tank. Strangely enough, this was not really kitted that much. I think RPM did a 1/35 scale kit a million years ago, and that's really been the only kit on the market, considering how important this tank is to the history of tanks. This is essentially the first tank ever that had a 360-degree revolving turret. And the first kit out is this one, the big 1/16 scale kit. Actually, Meng also has a 1/35 scale kit that I think came out a couple weeks earlier. That's also excellent, and we'll save that for another time. But today we're going to showcase Tacom's all-new 1/16 scale Renault FT. Tacom, well, they're all new too. This is their very first kit. And I'd like to comment on just how amazing it is these days that a brand new company can come right out of the starting blocks with such an amazing product as this kit is. The tooling is just fantastic. The detail is fantastic. I haven't built one myself, but I have one in the stash. But I've heard from people who have built it that the assembly is very, very good. It's all link tracks, not length. It's all linked together, so you can drive it around if you want, World War I style. So it's just an excellent, excellent kit. And I want to say a big thanks to Daniel at Tacom. He's the representative for us. We buy all the stuff via Daniel from Tacom, and he also built these two kits. These two models here that they supplied was for the All Japan Model and Hobby Show that we attended last week, and we had these on display there. So Daniel, if you're out there watching this, thank you very much. Not only are you a great representative for your company, but you're a fantastic modeler as well. These are excellently assembled and painted kits. This one seems to be just painted, not much weather, but this one, the weathering is just absolutely fantastic on it, and of course the cutaway there. So as you can see already by looking at this, not only is the exterior detail fantastic, but it comes with a full interior. The fighting compartment, the driver's compartment, the turret interior, and of course the engine space in the back there with the, I believe that was a 4-cylinder engine that made like, I can't remember, something crazy, like 17 horsepower or something. You FT experts out there can probably know this more than I do. But yeah, in the old days, those old engines didn't make many horsepower. But there you go. It was enough to move the tank around anyway. So, checking out the samples here. You see the other side, this is of course finished on this side. It's not cut open. You can see nicely weathered there. Highly detailed. Comes with a chain. It's got some photo etched type parts on here. I don't know where they are on here, but we can see them once we dig into the box. And as I was showing you before, the IndieLink tracks, which are made of multiple parts. You can see here, I think it's 1, 2, 3. It's the track pad part itself, if you can call this a pad, and the structures inside that all link together when you assemble it. And it all works. I like that. So, got the big skid on there. That was for when it was crossing ditches. It wouldn't fall into the ditch there when it was coming out. That's why it's kind of skidded up on the back there. So the FT tank came either with a Hotchkiss machine gun or this version with the Girod turret. This is the Char Canon, the Canon tank, and it's got the 37mm gun mounted in the turret there. I believe this was crewed by 2, which, yeah, because you can't get any more than 2 people in these little things. The driver and the commander gunner who would sit in there. So yes, this is a very cool kit. And as you can see here, it's big, but it's not monstrously huge. Usually you think of a 1/16 scale tank and you're going like, my goodness, where am I going to put that? But this is probably just a little bigger than maybe a 1/35 scale Tiger II, maybe. It's got a little more mass to it, though, just because of the proportions of it and all. And with the skid, it's a little longer. But you know, it's a very manageable, shelf-friendly size right there. So I'm going to put these two samples aside for a moment. And we will take a gander at what you get in the box. So this is the box, a very sturdy box. Tacom, again, as I keep saying, they've come right out of the starting gates with an amazingly professional and just beautifully packaged product too. Extremely tough box, beautiful, rather Tamiya-esque, I might say, painting of one of the versions on the cover there. The box cover shows the different things on the side there. So these are the different markings, which are actually represented in the samples as well. And then it's got a nice picture of all the sprues outlaid there. So let's take a look inside. And this one, we've already opened up because we had the sprues on display. So everything comes bagged as normal. Here's a little piece of flotsam and jetsam we'll get out of there. And first of all, I'll show you the nice booklet, the instruction booklet there. It's, you know, nice instructions. So, very clear, understand. I was going to say, is there much English? But it's pretty self-explanatory, well illustrated. It's a nice, 1/16 scale, so it's not all that fiddly. And it gives you, actually, you get 3 choices actually for the markings. So yeah, a nice instruction booklet for the Renault FT. Now these are what they're calling photo etched parts, but I don't think these are actually metal. Have to get in there and check it out, talk to the Tacom boys. But they serve the same function as photo etch parts for some of the flatter, thinner things. And digging into the sprues themselves, interesting color, red, maroon, ultramaroon, I don't know. But pretty vivid. Even even old colorblind me can see that this is a kind of a funky color. So we get sprues after sprues after sprues, mostly interior parts here. You can tell those are the big, the idler wheels, which are in the front on the Renault, and the sprocket on the back. Just gonna run through some of the other parts, turret parts there. Now here's an interesting sprue. These are the tracks. As you can see, as I mentioned before, there's the main portion of the track pad, if you will, and each link consists of 3 parts: the main track pad in the middle, and these 2 parts that go on there. And as you assemble them together, makes a very strong and workable length of track. So actually, this might be a pretty cool thing to radio controlize at some point. You'd have to chuck all the interior parts, but you might be able to get some 1/35 scale tank RC gear and shove it in there and have yourself a cool little remote control FT. More interior parts. That's where you put all those shells. Some interior body parts. This is is that the floor? Yeah, that's the floor. In there, top of the hull there. So yes, perzo plenty. Oh, we got more tracks. More tracks here. You need a lot of tracks. There's the side of the tank. Some other bits and pieces in there. Again, a hand for comparison, but we already know how big it is. And more of the same and the other side of this like that. So, and again, as you can see here, if I hold it still, can you see against a nice purple background? Purple and red, isn't that a great color combination? Anyway, the molding is extremely crisp. I don't see any flash anywhere on here. Again, I've heard reports, all reports indicate that the assembly goes very smoothly. The fit is supposedly very good. Again, I haven't tried it myself, but I believe the people who have told me so. But yeah, just looking at these parts, like, yeah, this is their first kit? Get out of here. Who's pulling my leg? But apparently, I won't divulge any secrets, but like a lot of ventures these days, apparently some of the staff and engineers at Tacom have come from some, have had some experience at some other companies, so they all came together to make Tacom, and bam, right out of the starting blocks again. An excellent kit. So let me throw all this back in here and put the lid back on. And again, check out this box. This is just like sturdy as all get out. You're going to get this kit in excellent shape when it comes to you. Put it back in there, excuse me. So there we go. Let me bring the little happy guys back up here. Right, so 1/16 scale Renault FT Tank. Again, I was mentioning, just alluding to radio controlling this thing again, and you can see that there is a good bit of space here, but the rear wheels are what are powered, and it gets kind of thin back there. So any of you out there who are good at radio controlling smaller models like this, again, there's some gear out there for 1/35 scale tanks that you might be able to fit into this smaller 1/16 scale thing to radio control it. But it will take some work. Anyway, off on a tangent there. As the kit stands, it's just an excellent, excellent representation of the Renault FT. Very important tank from World War I. First tank with a rotating turret. So there we go. From Tacom, 1/16. Now this is on sale right now. We got them in just this past weekend, right after the show. Unfortunately, we weren't able to take them to the show, and it's on sale at the HLJ site right now for 13,500 yen. That's an excellent price for what you get in the box, which is a big, heavy box, plastic. All right, so on sale now from Tacom at HLJ. And next, I'm going to move these guys out of the way. We're going to move from the 19 teens, World War I, into the future. A future that fortunately never was. Nuclear destruction. And we'll explain why. Now this, you're thinking, get out of here. What's this? Is this a Gundam hard graph UC or something like that? They never made this. Well, they made at least one. Maybe they made a couple test versions. This is the Russian Soviet heavy tank Object 279. The Russian development agencies, or whatever they called them, when they were coming up with weapons, particularly armored vehicles, they just referred to them as Object whatever. And this one was quite famous. This was the Object 279, quite famous because it's a pretty weird tank. As you can see, well, instead of looking at the picture, let me just bring in a finished version. And before I get any further, this is from Amusing Hobbies. Now, strangely enough, as strange as this tank is, it's never been really kitted. I think was it Matsuo Kasten did a little teeny tiny 1/44 scale one, and there might have been some other resin kits out there, but we've never had an injection 1/35 scale kit until now. And strangely enough, not only do we have one, we have three. Two are out already. The Panda Hobbies kit came out last month, Object 279, and this kit from Amusing Hobby. Now, this is another brand that we carry here at HLJ. Amusing Hobbies Object 279 is coming out in November. But wait, there's one more coming. Tacom, our buddies at Tacom, who we just saw their FT, and we know how great that kit is. Their Object 279's release is also imminent. It might actually come out before Amusing Hobbies, although we don't have any samples or a kit to show you. So that's why I'm showing you this one today. The Panda Hobby one is out already, but we don't have a built-up sample. But Amusing supplied us with this, so that's why I'm showing it to you here today. All right, well, to gab a bit about the actual vehicle again, as you can see here, it's a very strange tank. It's a very, very strange tank indeed. Check it out. 4 runs of tracks and this crazy UFO-style hull. Now, from what I understand, it was designed like this to help withstand nuclear blasts, hence the nuclear war references earlier. Luckily that never happened, and this tank never made it into production. But the idea was that you would have a low, what do you call it? It's not center of gravity. It would spread out the weight of the tank. You had the 4 tracks on here, so if there was a blast overhead, it wouldn't crush the tank into the ground, as the 4 tracks would help support the weight and all the blast and whatever. And if the blast was further away, this flying saucer-esque hull was supposed to keep it from getting blown over. Supposedly, although you would think it's, well, I guess the way it's aerodynamically designed here, but you think it might work like a wing and that sucker would just take off in a big nuclear wind. But anyway, apparently that was the thinking. It was the 50s. People were, so afraid of the bomb and everything. So this is one of the weapon systems that was being developed to withstand that. But again, luckily we never got that far. Now again, but what we have then, the legacy of this is just the crazy looking thing. Flying saucer, snowcat looking tracks on there. And if I understand it correctly, there's only one left, and it's in the Kubinka, I think that's the right pronunciation, Kubinka Museum in Russia. And I'm not sure how many were ever built. When you get up top, though, it's kind of pretty standard Russian stuff. I believe this is a 130 millimeter gun, and you can see it's crazy long. And of course the turret moves on here, as I say, and it doesn't move. Yes, it does. Comes with some photo etched parts. One thing I can comment about this sample is apparently when they built the sample, they didn't have the metal tow cables prepared for it yet. So we've got the end, the eyelets there at the end, not the eyelets, the loops or whatever for the tow cables, but we don't have the metal things there. Other features I can talk about this kit itself is these are workable tracks, as you can see here. Now you probably have to get in there and, if you wanted to get the right sag, don't know if you can see here, make sure they're all in there and push down and get it up there, because the real tank itself they were a little bit loose and you can get some good sag in there. But you have 4 of them to do. And these are the pinned type. If you're familiar with model casting type, these are a link, and then you have to insert pins in the end. And I believe this comes with a jig to help you do that. Yes, it does. You can see right here at the end there. It comes with a little helpful jig to help you assemble the tracks. And it comes with photo etched parts. So the fact that these are workable track links makes life a little easier. The previously released Panda kit was individual track links, but you had to glue them all together. which isn't a hard thing to do, and you have to get the correct sag going on there. Now the Tacom kit, which is coming out soon, I'm not sure what their story is on the tracks, but whichever kit you build, you're going to have to build 4 runs of tracks, so it's not difficult to do, but it will be time consuming, so set aside some time to get those tracks done. And this is all kind of moves. I don't want to force it too much, but yeah, the suspension's not workable, but it will run around. And as most modern tank kits these days, it comes with photo etched parts for the grills back here and some other parts around the tank. So yeah, so Amusing Hobbies. This is the Amusing Hobbies 1/35th scale Object 279 Soviet heavy tank that never was, fortunately, because it was all about the nuclear war, which never happened. So yeah, that's what I wanted to show you. Did I mention when this is coming out? I believe I did. It is coming out in November, and the price is, off the top of my head, and this piece of paper, we're having it, it's 5,000 yen retail, but the HLJ price is 4,500 yen. That's a good deal. It's 10% off. And it's up for pre-order right now for a November release. Wow, one thing I'm noticing about handling this thing is if you're an armor modeler, and if you're watching this, you probably are, you can usually pick up the tank from the back, and you got a nice space in there, so you don't really have to touch any of the surface there. But you don't get that with this guy, because it's all tracks all the time under here. And if you get smaller fingers than me, maybe you can get a finger in there, but best to just put it on a nice base and you'll be good to go. So let's recap. I'll bring this guy up over here. We've got the 1/16th, yeah, it's not that much difference. We got the 1/16th Renault FT from Tacom. This is on sale now here at the HLJ. And we got the 1/35th Amusing Hobby Object 279 up for pre-order now, coming in November. So 2 just extremely interesting and extremely well done kits from 2 makers that we have here at HLJ. So please check them out.